Before we get into today's video, I wanted to quickly tell you about a Kickstarter for a movie I will be heavily involved in if it is successfully funded. The movie is called Reset, and it is a feature-length science fiction film about transitioning into adulthood in near-future New York City, and it was written and will be directed by a large YouTuber named James Tyler, who you all may know by his YouTube channel Nerdstalgic. Tyler has a background in filmmaking, and this film is his dream, and he will be hiring a professional crew for the production of the movie. Now, there are many different pledge levels for you to back to support the movie, and there are a variety of rewards you will receive depending on your pledge, most of which include a copy of the movie upon release. So this is essentially a pre-order for the movie that will also help make it happen. Now, I believe in Tyler, aka Nerdstalgic, and his project, and I encourage you to go check out the Kickstarter, and if it looks interesting to you, please consider backing it, and if you back it, please share the Kickstarter on social media and with friends and family. I will leave a link to the Kickstarter and Tyler's YouTube channel, Nerdstalgic, in the description down below, so please go check those out. Let's make this movie happen, everybody. Thank you. Now back to the video. Welcome to the RetroWolf Podcast, episode number 9. Today I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, 8-Bit Eric. How you doing today, Eric?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I know you're a busy dude, so I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on my little podcast, man.
Oh, no worries, dude.
So man, let's start with this, because there may be some people in my audience that are not familiar with 8-Bit Eric. So if
Mhm.
you don't mind, kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself and about your YouTube channel and what it's all about.
Well, I've been making, I guess, YouTube videos religiously for about 8, 9 years, somewhere around there. Uh, it started off originally as just like a retro pickup and review channel, but it's kind of modified to everything from sometimes I'll talk about movies, games, TV, just Nintendo Switch for the most part in recent years, but it's a little bit of everything. I'm trying to do a variety back on it again. Um, People have probably most notably seen me like on episodes of Game Chasers or videos with like RGT or beat 'em ups and stuff. But um, I have a channel. It's called 8-Bit Eric. I'm also on Twitch. If you look up Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, just type in 8-Bit Eric. You'll find me. Been streaming 3 days a week as well, just playing like random retro video games and stuff. So it's kind of like an outlet for me just to make videos about what I want to talk about. It's nothing really fascinating or groundbreaking. I've always felt my channel was kind of a hobby channel, even though um, it has, things like Patreon and things like
Hmm.
that. It's not my full-time job, but it's something that I like doing. And as long as I have people that want to watch, I'm like, all right, cool, I'll keep doing it. So just look me up, just Google 8-Bit Eric, and you'll find the YouTube channel and the Twitch and everything from there.
Awesome, yeah. And I will leave a link to all of those in the description down below. So I encourage you to go check out Eric's channel, especially if you're a fan of the Switch, because he does some great Switch coverage. One thing I like about what you've been doing with your YouTube channel recently, Eric, is covering a lot of the games on the Switch eShop, because there
Uh,
there's a lot of damn good games on that eShop that I feel like people just skip over. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I talked about it recently. Unfortunately, the one problem with the eShop is the layout of it.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't really leave room for stuff to be discovered unless you really
Hmm.
dig in beyond the first initial week of the game being released. So a lot of indie games get lost in the shuffle after their first week unless they do a huge like 90% off sale. If you go to the bestseller section, you'll see an odd low budget indie game that is
Hmm.
for some reason number one in the bestsellers, and that's only because it's a 9 cent
Yeah.
price or something like that. But there's quite a number of indie games on the Switch, and I've been kind of moving over to Game Pass as well because Game Pass is starting to cater to the indies a little bit more too, and I think
Yeah.
that's a lot more of a better method that Xbox is doing.
There's yeah, I've always been a huge supporter of indie games. I try to play and cover indie games on my channel as well, especially indie games that I don't feel like get enough attention. One example I could throw out would be Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. That is a fantastic game that I feel
Yeah.
like I never hear anybody talk about that game, which is a shame because it's an incredible indie game. But yeah, so people, if you want to check out some Switch indie games that maybe you've never heard of, go on Eric's channel. He's got a lot of Let's Plays for the indie games, and he gives his opinion about the games at the end of the video. It's a great way to
Mhm.
see if it's a game that you might be interested in. So,
Yeah.
Eric, you'd mentioned that here lately you're trying to branch out into some other stuff on the channel as well. What kind of stuff are you getting into?
Well, I've been going back to news. A few years ago, I used to cover like news topics and stuff, and then I stopped.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of brushed away from doing it because a lot of people have been doing it and stuff like that. But it generally seems like it's something that the people are most interested in.
Hmm.
It's getting the buzz, engagement, interaction, and stuff. So I've kind of been, especially going into the current gen, like the next generation, been talking a little bit more about PS5, Xbox Series
Yeah.
X, current Switch rumors and stuff.
Hmm.
So just kind of been dabbling into that. Also, I've been on my second channel. I've been talking about a little bit more in regards to like uh, TV, sports, wrestling,
Nice.
a little bit of everything. So just kind of being a little bit more variety. Nothing too specific in general.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's an
Oh,
exciting time to be a gamer right now, man. There's a lot of cool
yeah,
stuff happening across the board.
yeah, definitely. And uh, I personally like looking up stuff that's like on Reddit and things like
Hmm.
that and talking about it.
Yeah.
So just kind of been keeping tabs on that stuff.
Nice. Yeah, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of stuff coming on the horizons, especially with Nintendo. I think Nintendo's getting ready to make some announcements. They've been real quiet lately, but they can't be quiet too much longer, so it's only a matter of time before they spill
Yeah.
the beans on some of the stuff that's been rumored,
Hmm. I
which
completely agree on that. It's been almost a year actually since
yeah.
Nintendo's had a direct and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, you never know. And the thing that, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, man, the thing that I've learned about Nintendo over the years is they're damn near impossible to predict. You might think you have figured out what they're going to do, and then they go in the freaking left field with it, man, and just do the complete opposite of what you think they're going to do. So who knows? I mean, they could surprise us with something that nobody
Yeah.
has been guessing.
Hmm.
But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But yeah, so man, you sort of touched on a little bit, why you started YouTube and kind of what you're in it for, which is kind of
Yeah.
similar to what I'm in it for, is sort of like a side hobby, just a platform to really talk about games and share that passion with other people.
Mm.
Um, is there anything else that kind of influenced you to start your YouTube channel?
No, I remember watching YouTube in the early years, watching guys like AVGN,
Oh
Irate
yeah.
Gamer, Gaming Historian, and just being like, man, that's pretty cool. Because at the time, back in 2006, 2005, retro games were starting to get popular again.
Hmm.
People were starting to talk about them again. And it was like, I was like, like it wasn't a thing. I was like, it's like, oh wow, I remember playing this game and stuff like that, and it got me interested in the hobby and the collecting. And then shortly after that, that's when the game hunting phase came out, and everybody was starting to become game hunters, and because the game chasers came out,
Yeah.
and after that, it became like the next thing. So it's been evolving, and it's just kind of like my hobbies that I've been interested in personally influenced the decision to get on to YouTube.
Yeah. Same here, man. Same here. It was 2016. I started collecting retro games again.
Oh wow,
Um,
you got in pretty late when it was
I
already high priced.
Yeah, I did, man. I did. Yeah, my nephew, who's also my partner on the YouTube channel, he edits half the videos. I edit half the videos. But anyways, he gave me a GameCube because I used to love the GameCube, and he gave me a
Uh,
handful of games, and that was it, man. It was just
uh,
the bug bit me from that point, and so the next 3 years I was going hardcore on collecting, spending too much damn money, more money
mhm.
than I should have been spending. You know how it goes, man. Whenever
Yeah.
you get bit by the bug, and then I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, but then in 2019, early 2019, I was looking at my collection and I was thinking, you know what? I've got this nice collection. I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel. I'm just gonna jump in.
Yeah.
I've got plenty of stuff I can pull from to create videos. I'm just going to jump in and do it. And at first, like most people that get into YouTube, at first my videos were pretty bad, man. They
Oh
were,
yeah, yeah.
but you got to start somewhere. And I feel like over the last year and a half that I've been doing this, I feel like I've improved quite a bit. So I'm pretty happy. I mean, I still, I've only got like 1,200 subscribers, so I don't have very many, but I never thought I would hit 1,000 subscribers. So
Well, yeah. I
you know
mean,
what I
even
mean?
getting 100's a pretty big,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
um, thing like that. But everybody starts from square one. I know lots of times people will tell me, "Oh, I want to get into YouTube, but I'm gonna wait till I have this and that."
Mm,
I'm like, "Why wait?
yep.
By the time you wait, landscape's gonna be changed even more, and
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be harder to even get on board and
Mm-hmm.
get noticed." So,
Yep.
lots of times just jump on in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's what I tell people too. Just jump right in, even if you don't have all the equipment that you have. If you have a smartphone, you have a camera, so
Yeah,
you
I
can,
know some big channels that start off with phones, like Alpha
Mm-hmm.
Megasin
Mm-hmm.
was cell phone only. Boogie, I believe, was cell phone for a while.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that still just operate. OK Chief is
Mm-hmm.
another guy that does just all with phone.
Yep.
So
Yep. So yeah, I agree with you, man. If you want to start a YouTube channel, just jump right into it. You're probably not going to be very good at first, but eventually you'll slowly get better. You'll just learn something every video and make small improvements, and over
yeah, I
time
mean,
you'll
like
get better.
I had to learn myself how to edit and
Yep.
shoot and figure out what to do and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And that's to me, that's the fun.
It
That's the
is.
fun of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is fun. I'm curious. So, looking behind you in your background, I'm seeing just an awesome collection, man. A huge
Uh huh.
stack of NES games and a lot of other cool stuff. So,
Yeah.
did you start collecting about the same time you got into YouTube, or were you collecting prior to
Well,
that?
fortunately, I had everything from Super Nintendo on.
Hmm.
I already had.
Nice.
Um, the only thing that I ever got rid of when I was a kid was my NES, and I didn't have that many games for it anyway at the time. Like as a kid, I think I maybe had like 13 games total
Hmm.
for it, and then I traded it in to get a Game Boy for whatever reason. I don't know why I did that, and then I got the Super Nintendo. And then when the 64 came out, my mom was like, "Okay, well, give your sister the Super Nintendo." And I was like, "All right." But I ended up keeping it anyway. Like I
Hmm.
gave it to her, but then eventually when she grew out of interest for it, I took it back, and just from there, I was solely only a Nintendo guy up until 2015. So I would just get Nintendo, and I didn't have like a PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 or a PS4 or a PS. I mean, whatever. I
Hmm.
didn't have any Xboxes, nothing until 2015. So at the time, my Wii U was like the most modern system that I had. And some of my buddies at work, my channel wasn't called 8-Bit Eric at first. Um, but some of my friends at work were like, "Dude, you need to get a PlayStation 3 or, so we can at least play with you." I'm like, "No." And then the PS4 came out and they're like, "Come on, dude, get one." I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Dude, you're 8-Bit Eric. You're just stuck with the old games." And I was like, "Hey, I like that." So
Yeah.
I changed my name to that.
Nice.
Um, but I had like all the Nintendo stuff. And then my brother had just the Master System and the Genesis. So I had everything up until the Wii U for Nintendo, and then like in 2009 that's when I bought an NES. And I early on I was getting bulk. I was getting
Hmm.
like bulk lots. um, I came across like a top loader with like 22 games for like $120.
Nice.
I got that. My friend sold me like 40 NES games for like 75 total.
Nice.
um, and then I would just every other day I would just go and get games because they were
Hmm.
cheaper. Like some of the stores in town were cheaper. They were selling them for like $5 or less,
Hmm.
and still, so I would just get those. So then I had all my games back that I had as a kid, plus then some. Uh, and then I also had the Game Gear and the Game Boy stuff. So from then on, once the Wii U hit, I just kind of been casually just getting filler. A lot of it is
Yeah.
crap. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the Super Nintendo and NES is just like filler titles.
Hmm.
A lot of the Genesis is filler, but it's not too bad. I think I've been collecting religiously since 2009, so about 10 years collecting.
Damn.
I don't do the retro too much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I just mostly get like PS4 and Switch stuff now.
Yeah.
But every once in a while I'll go out because a lot of the stuff that I don't have is kind of hard to find, and I'm not going to spend a lot to get certain stuff.
Yeah, man. If there's one thing that I regret, it's not fucking collecting when you started collecting, man. Back when the prices were low, back when the stuff was easy to find, it was all over the place. Because now, as you know, the prices are going way up. Stuff's harder to find because, you know, the game chasers are great, but they've turned a lot of people into game hunters. So the game chasers have had a hand. They've probably had a pretty big hand in making games harder to find, which, you know, it's cool because, you know, I think what they're doing is cool because it's inspiring other people to collect, because I think it's cool to get these games out of garages and out of storage units in someone's home where they can be in a collection, be well taken care of and preserved and played, instead of just sitting in a basement somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. So that's cool. And it looks like how many games are in your collection off the top of your head? Do you know roughly?
I couldn't even tell you, man. I know I have 635 for NES.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's just NES, so at least over 1,000. I would say probably like a couple thousand.
Nice, man. That's a lot of NES games. That's
yeah.
You must have a few of the pretty rare games then.
I have a few. I have like Snow Bros, Zombie Nation.
What about Metal Storm?
I do have that. I do have a few. I have the collector app on my iPhone, but it's not the most reliable.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see if I could pop it up real quick and tell you. I know, and I just noticed recently, speaking of GameCube, that's been going up.
Oh, dude, I know. I am glad that I completed the collection when I did, because GameCube is my bread and butter. That is the system that got me into gaming. So when I started collecting, my goal was to get a complete GameCube collection. That was the main thing that I worked towards.
Here's some of the ones I have. Action 52, Beauty and the Beast, that's PAL, that's pretty rare. Maxi 15, Secret Scout, Dusty Diamonds Baseball, Snow Brothers, Stack Up, Tagging Dragon, Tengen Tetris, Zombie Nation, Battletoads Double Dragon, Best of the Best, Bible Buffet, Bucky O'Hare, Chiller, Colored Dinosaur. I didn't realize this one was getting up. Mission Cobra.
Really?
Yeah. Well, at least in rare. See, this one does by rarity and by valuable.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, I have a card-only Zombie Nation, and that's almost $370.
Damn.
And then I have Snow Brothers. That's $238. I have Mighty Final Fight. That's $227.
Yeah,
These are card only.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Secret
crazy.
Scout, $200, and I bought some of these for $50.
Nice.
Action 52, $200. Bucky's $172. Scat, $136. Metal Storm, $130.
Yep.
Godzilla, $120. Rockin' Cats, $107. I bought that for $20 at Retropalooza. Nice. Stack Up is $100.
Wow.
Battletoads Double Dragon, $100. Gemfire, $100. So, Colored Dinosaur, I bought that for $15. It's $100 now. Ninja Gaiden 3's $90 now? What the hell?
Really? Wow, I didn't know that. I'm glad I have it.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think my rarest NES game is probably DuckTales 2. It's my rarest one.
Yeah, I don't even have that.
Yeah. I got lucky and got a mint copy, man. Like, it looks like it's never been touched. So I was happy about that. So, what would you say is the best thing for you about YouTube? What's the thing about YouTube that you enjoy the most?
Just making friends and meeting people, stuff like that. I've had like a lot of opportunities. I got to do the movie. I got to go to conventions. Just stuff like that. That's probably the most rewarding thing. I like having fun with people and hanging out, making friends.
Yeah.
Definitely an experience that I didn't expect to come out of it, nor do I feel entitled from it.
Totally agree, man. I feel the same way. That's been the best thing for me about YouTube is just all the awesome people that I've been able to meet and interact with. Like, of
Mhm.
course, you and Billy and Jay and all them. You know, that was a hell of an opportunity that
Yeah.
I paid for, but it was worth every penny. Yeah, so yeah, I agree with you, man. I think that is the best thing about YouTube is just the people you get to meet and become friends with, and it's almost like when you get in the YouTube community, it's almost like you become part of this family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I think it's kind of hard to explain. Like, I don't like the word community too much.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to be like sheltered in or closed, but
Hmm.
sometimes I'm like, okay, like a Billy J or a Joe from GameSack or an RGT or a Wood, like those are my boys, or a
Yeah.
Chief. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
my relationship with them goes beyond YouTube,
Hmm.
so I don't see it as just like a YouTube thing with them.
Hmm.
But there is like a like, I guess, like a community between our audiences to where people connect with us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I try to keep my community tight knit because I don't believe every single channel or person that's in YouTube is good for the platform.
Right.
So, like, or I mean, or it's just kind of like, it's like I don't want to say there's clicks and stuff, but it's
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I just it's hard to explain, but what's really cool, like the different, like, I know you kind of knocked yourself for paying. That helped us a lot more than what you realize, and it was
Hmm.
probably definitely much appreciated. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
I told you enough,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
but that was much appreciated. That wasn't expected or entitled
Hmm.
at all from our end. So you got, you definitely are a big part of our appreciation, which is why um, we've became, all of us have become friends with you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, and it's not like, oh, like, I don't want people trolling you and saying you paid your way in or anything
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Right. Right. Right.
That's not how I see it.
Right. Right.
Um, I see it as something different than that, because that was, you know, a big passion project, whether
Hmm.
people want to believe or not.
Right.
Nobody was getting rich off of it.
Yep.
you know?
Yeah. That's true. That's true. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into the movie, man. This seems like a good segue to get
Oh
into
yeah,
that.
yeah.
At what point in the process did you get involved with the movie? Was it during the script writing, or was it a little bit after
Um,
that?
Actually, I was there when somebody first suggested the Game Chasers should do a movie like two
Oh,
or three
nice.
years ago,
Yeah.
and always just kind of like, I'm not really hands on with the creative direction, whatever, but I did
Hmm.
throw some ideas here or there.
Yeah.
I didn't really have involvement with the script,
Hmm.
but I off and on throughout the years just gave some suggestions for it, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, I knew I was going to be in it since 2016, 2015,
Yeah.
like years ago. So
Yeah.
I knew I was in already and on it. We just didn't know if it was going to be like a scripted comedy or an actual like full length Game Chasers episode where we
Hmm.
go somewhere. There was all sorts of different things discussed, but as it got closer, um, I still kind of contributed just a little bit of ideas. Got to read different versions of the script,
Yeah.
give my thoughts, stuff like that. Um, Billy would ask me a random question here or there, like, "Hey, what do you think about this person to be this role?" and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And then in October, we filmed in November. October, I went to up there and just stayed with Jay for like the whole month of October, a whole month ahead of time, just to help location scout and stuff like that, script read,
Hmm.
um, help with wardrobe ideas, stuff like that. So I was pretty involved. Not to the point where I was actually writing the script. I wish I was involved in that, but maybe if there's a sequel or something. But
Hmm.
it was pretty interesting.
Nice, nice. So, and you had a pretty big role in the movie as far as the acting goes. So how did you prepare for that? I mean, well, I guess you probably have some acting experience with what you do in wrestling. I mean, I would assume that involves some acting, right?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess, as far as like expression and uh, acting a certain character,
Yeah.
like, vibe or stuff like that. It definitely did help. Um, and it made it a lot easier. It was still a challenge, though. It was still pretty difficult, especially like day one when we didn't know anything that was going on.
Yeah.
And then we were already running late on schedule because the car wasn't working. So then we moved my scene to be the first thing shot for the day. So I was just thrown out there.
Yeah.
But it's not too bad. It definitely helped out a lot.
Yeah. It probably helped too that it seemed like your character was, or it seemed like most everybody's characters for the most part was written in a way to be similar to you as a person in some ways, not in every way, but in some ways. So that probably helped a little bit too, I would imagine.
Yeah. It was in a way, it was still a little tricky to play ourselves because there was certain aspects that were different, a little bit of a weird extension of ourselves, but it was still interesting once we got the hang of it. By the time you were on set, we kind of had our methods down already.
Yeah. You were like, you and Chief, man, you guys were just nailing your lines, man. It's like, I mean, and I was going into it, not to sound mean or anything, but I was going into it. I was going into it thinking, well, these guys have never acted before to my knowledge. So how well are they really going to be able to act? And then I got on set and I saw the filming and I was like, okay, they're knocking it out.
Yeah. And going in, I made sure I studied the script. I studied like every scene I was in, including other people's lines. I did my homework on it. For at least, I think I had like a good 6, maybe almost a year, 6 to 9 months with the script.
Oh, wow.
Reading it, memorizing stuff, figuring out how I was going to approach it. Chief was actually in a last minute audition. He didn't get put in until literally like days before we started shooting. But he did good. I was a little worried, but I went in not expecting what the process was going to be like. I was pretty nervous, but we pulled it through. Once we figured out it was a lot relaxed on not having to completely memorize word for word on the script.
Yeah.
And that we would have help and we'd have like rehearsal time and stuff like that. It became a little bit less stressful in my opinion. And then once we were kind of given the go ahead to change things around as easy as we could to memorize our stuff and get the message of the scene down, it just became a lot easier to handle.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was gonna kind of ask you how hard it was to memorize the lines, but it sounds like you didn't necessarily have to memorize them word for word. It sounds like there was some wiggle room, so that's good.
Yeah, there was definitely some wiggle room for sure.
Yeah, cool. So, by the time I got to the set, I think it was in the third week. So by then everything was a well-oiled machine. I mean, like, all the cast and crew were just working so good together. The communication was great. Everybody seemed like they got along really well. And everything just seemed, from my perspective, like it was just running real smoothly. Like everybody was in a rhythm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the one benefit that we had is a lot of the crew that was actually working on it worked with each other in the past. So they had their own methods.
Yeah.
And basically they were just hand-holding us guys to where we need to be, what we need to do. I mean, Christine, Larissa, and Rudy, we couldn't have gotten it. And Peter, actually, the cameraman, we couldn't have done it without them. Yeah. If we wouldn't have had any of those guys, I think we would have been a mess. But, Rudy was amazing. Larissa was great. Christine was great. Peter was great. Chris, the gaffer guy, was great. Like everybody that was on board.
Yeah.
Everybody did a great job because the rest of us, none of us had experience.
Yeah.
Even the other actors on set had no experience.
Yeah.
The people that played like the Pat guy and the nerds and all that, the gangsters, the main villain, nobody on there. This was everybody's first movie, including the people that had acting classes and stuff like that. So I think for what it was, it's going to be pretty well done. And I know people are twisting words when we're saying the worst part of the movie is the acting and stuff like that. The worst part of the movie is the acting, but it was all of our first time, and you got to start somewhere. So
Well, I'll say this to the people that are saying stuff like that. I was on set for 4 days. I saw a lot of scenes being filmed, which include some of the actual actors and, of course, some of the people that don't act for a living. And from my perspective, I thought the acting was perfectly fine. Like, I didn't see any issues with it. Of course, it's not going to be like Oscar, you know, or Emmys or whatever the hell the awards for movies. What is it, Oscars or Emmys?
yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's not going to be like to that level, but I feel like the acting is going to be good enough to make the story believable and the characters believable and pull you into the movie rather than,
hmm
pull you out of the movie. So based on my observations and what I saw filmed in just 4 days, I would tell people not to worry about the acting,
yeah.
because from what I saw, it was perfectly fine.
And I don't think the trailer honestly did it justice. The trailer made it seem a little bit too silly, in my
Yeah.
opinion. There's even a lot of stuff that you didn't see that the movie has,
Hmm.
um, that I think people are going to be surprised and be like, "Wow, I didn't know this was what the movie was about."
Yeah.
I feel that the trailer didn't do it justice. I'm hoping if there is a second trailer,
Hmm.
that it goes more into the backstory of what
Hmm.
the meaning of the movie is.
Yeah.
Um, I hope it goes into more of like the heart behind it, because there
Hmm.
was a lot of good scenes and a lot of plot points that, of course, can't be spoiled in the trailer.
Right. Right.
But I think this movie's a lot more than what people understand.
Yeah. So, what was it like for you, man? So you've been with the process since pretty much the beginning. You saw the script well before there was a Kickstarter.
Uh,
What was it like for you when everything started to come together and you came to the realization, wow, this is actually happening.
it
We're
it
making
was
a movie.
pretty intimidating day one, because
Hmm.
I thought it was going to be like Billy there and like a couple of people, and that
Yeah.
was it. But
Yeah.
it was a full crew. It was
Yeah.
like a full staff, lots of people on set, and it was overwhelming at first. I was like, "Oh
Hmm.
shit, we're in over our heads. This is gonna be horrible. We're gonna be trash." I was worried about us messing up too much.
Hmm.
The first few days, I was kind of, I guess, insufferable when it came to telling Chief, Billy, and Jay like how to act, like between
Yeah.
takes. I'd be like, dude, you got to do it like this, man. Like I was trying to be real about it too, because
Yeah.
I wanted them to be good. Like I'd be like, Jay, you need more expression, dude, when you say that. Jay, you
Hmm.
need more this. Billy, be animated a little bit more. And it
Hmm.
was to suggest help. And then once everybody started clicking and stuff, I didn't
Yeah.
have to do it as much. But I know the first few days I was unbearable, just kind of on everybody's ass. But it's because I wanted it to be as best as it could be.
Yep.
But then once I saw everybody was getting it down, once I was like, wow, the crew knows exactly what they're doing.
Hmm.
It became fun. I liked the routine. I liked showing up to set, getting mic'd up, eating my
Hmm.
my breakfast or my lunch, and then getting where I needed to be and just doing it. And it's actually enticed me to look into getting roles soon.
Nice.
I'm probably going to be starting to apply to get into some more acting roles and stuff like that. So it definitely opened up a new avenue of at least a hobby or something
Nice.
for me to do.
You should look into. Are you familiar with Nerdstalgic YouTuber?
No.
He is a YouTuber that does YouTube videos about '90s cartoons and movies and stuff. Pretty big YouTuber, and he's friends with Billy and Jay, and he actually is kickstarting a movie as well that he's been working on. And he went to film school, so the guy's legit. He's worked at a studio. He kickstarted a movie. Actually, I think the Kickstarter started today. You should look into that. Maybe you can get a role in that. It's filming spring next year. And I actually backed a pretty big tier of that one too, so I'll be helping out with that movie, and he's got Yoshi involved too. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so I'll send you the link to the Kickstarter after we're done. I'll shoot it to you so you can check it out.
Cool.
But yeah, man, one thing that I like you were saying about the crew, they were on point, man. Like they as soon as I got on set, like I didn't know what to expect, but as soon as I got on set, I immediately saw that they knew what the hell they were doing. And what I loved about that crew and the cast too, everybody that was on set, everybody was very professional, getting the job done, working their asses off, but at the same time, they were still having fun too. So they were professional, but still having fun. making jokes, and and everybody seemed like they had the same sense of humor, which was really nice because
Yeah.
some of us, we got a pretty fucked up sense of humor. So
Uh-huh.
but yeah, so that I thought that was awesome. So it seemed like Billy really got the right crew together for that movie.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. It was. I thought they were pretty good at what they did. I was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
impressed with them.
Yeah.
I follow a lot of them on social media now, so
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that they're still constantly working.
Oh yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and everybody was working so hard too, man. And even when I got on set, I mean, I got on set and I was like, "Hey, Billy, put my ass to work." I don't want to just stand here and watch. Let me do some stuff too. So,
Mhm.
so I was able to help out, which was cool. Me and Gabe, you remember Gabe?
Yeah.
So that was cool. But yeah, dude, I'm so pumped to see the movie, man. I know Billy is ready for it to be done, but at the same
Mhm.
time, he wants it to be the best that he can possibly make it. So, you
Yeah.
know, people be patient. It's gonna get done. You don't want it to be rushed. It's just like a video game. You don't want a video game to get rushed because when it gets released, it's gonna be buggy, glitchy. It's not going to be a really good finished product. Same with this movie. You want even if it takes Billy another 6 months to a year, which I don't think it's going to. It doesn't sound like
Yeah.
it's going to, but even if it did, we should be okay with that because ultimately Billy wants it to be the best that he can possibly make it. So,
Yeah. I mean, definitely, he's a stickler for perfection. I've
yeah.
seen every once in a while he'll send me preview clips, like little snippets of scenes and stuff like that, and it looks really good for what we're doing so far. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna make sure it's as good as it could be before it's released. I'm ready for it to be out. I want
Hmm.
people to be watching it already because I think
Yeah.
it's the coolest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, not everybody can say I've been in a movie or I helped make a movie. That's not
Mhm.
something everybody can say. That's not everybody can get in that kind of industry. So I mean, even if this is the only movie you're ever involved, which it probably won't be, but even if it is, that's something you can cross off your bucket list, and that's
Yeah,
awesome.
definitely for sure.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, like just doing this, that just being on YouTube got me the opportunity to do that.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's another reason why I would encourage people, if you want to do something like start a YouTube channel, just do it. Start. Don't wait. You're only going to get older. You're not going to get any younger. And you don't know what kind of opportunities might come out of it. You don't know where it might lead. If you really put the work into it and the passion into it, it could really lead. It could take you somewhere.
Yeah,
But
definitely, man.
mm,
Um, I know I've seen people saying it's because I leech off my friend, but again, I knew Game Changers before they even had Game Changers come
yeah,
out. I was
yeah,
I was hanging out with them before they even had the series
yeah,
conceived. I was talking to Billy on YouTube before it, and people were like, "Oh, you just leeched and leeched." It's like, no, I'm genuinely real friends with
hmm
these motherfuckers. You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's not just about YouTube.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
But man, there's so many trolls out there. There's
yeah,
so many miserable human beings out there that are whatever for whatever reason their lives are miserable, and all they want to do is make other people's lives miserable to feel better about themselves. And that sucks. Thankfully I'm not at the level where I've run into a bunch of trolls yet. I've had a few, but I know if as my YouTube channel grows, I'm sure the more trolls are going to come. So that takes me to a question I wanted to ask you. How do you deal with trolls, man? Because I mean, I know all you guys have trolls. What? So
I
how?
used to have fun with it, and I used to
Yeah,
troll back, and I used to smart ass, and do
yeah,
stuff back. But now I just ignore it.
yeah,
It doesn't even matter. It's not worth it.
yeah,
It's pointless. Who cares what some dickhead that has nothing better going on for their lives to
yeah.
do? Just worry about what you got going
Hmm.
on, and please who watches you, please your own audience, and
Hmm.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely. I think that's the best advice. Honestly, is just ignore the trolls because they want to get a reaction out of you. That's what they're trying to do. So if you just ignore them, they're not going to get that reaction. Eventually, they might get bored and they're just going to move on to trolling somebody else that they can hopefully get a reaction out of.
Yeah.
Fucking trolls, man. Just, I don't get it personally. I mean, it's different if you're like trolling your friends, friends trolling each other, but I never understood I'm just gonna troll this person on the internet that I don't even really know and they don't really
Yeah.
know me. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, well, people think they know you if they just watch you every day and
Right.
stuff. I think
Which
they
is
know.
not right. Which you know as well as I do that what your persona in the YouTube videos, it's only a part of you.
Hmm.
That's not, you know what I mean? Just because people watch your videos doesn't mean that they know you. You're going to be completely different. Well, maybe not a completely different person, but you're going to be a pretty
Yeah.
different person outside of filming a video for YouTube.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I don't think that they realize that. But yeah, so yeah, that's good advice on trolls. And that's what I'm trying to do with the few trolls that I do have. I try to ignore them. Unless it turns into a dangerous situation, then I might handle it a different way. But if it's just
Yeah.
somebody just being a troll for the sake of being a troll, yeah, I'm probably just
Mhm.
going to ignore them. There's one guy out there on YouTube. I'm not even going to say his name. You know who I'm talking about. He's
Oh, yeah.
batshit crazy. That guy is nuts. And man, we're not going to talk about him.
Yeah.
Uh, so so cool, man. Is there anything else you want to say about the movie or any experience that you want to
I'm
share?
just ready to get it out there, man. Ready for it to be out. We wanted to do a screening tour where we go to
Hmm.
like different towns and show screenings of it, but
Yeah,
that obviously is not going to happen now. So,
yeah,
hopefully people are still able to enjoy it and watch it, and then when the
yeah.
time comes, we can go and watch it with people that want to hang out with us and do a
Hmm.
panel afterwards. And
Yeah,
yeah, just ready for it.
yeah. I really hope that Billy's able to make the premiere still happen because I'll be able to go to the premiere because of the tier that I backed on the Kickstarter, and I'm really looking forward to that. So I hope he can still make the premiere happen.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll happen, but I just
Yeah,
don't think it'll happen right away.
right, right. It might take a little time because I know I've heard, and you can tell me if this is true or not, but I've heard that Texas has gotten pretty bad recently with the virus.
Oh yeah, it's especially like my area. I'm in Bear County. It's Bear County and then Houston, Harris County are two of the worst areas in the states right now. And
Hmm.
Texas government's only limited a certain amount of people and
Yeah,
gatherings and stuff like that. Movie
yeah,
theaters in general aren't open. There's some that are, but they're very limited in
yeah.
capacity.
Right,
So I
right.
think I think Billy, if he's gonna have a premiere, he's gonna make sure he can do it right. He
Yeah,
doesn't want something that's limited or
yeah,
restricted. So
yeah. That makes sense.
yeah,
And I'm sure you personally, you probably have to be a little more careful because of your dad. I'm sure that
yeah,
you have to be a little more cautious. Which, by the way, huge respect for you for what you do for your dad, man. Seriously, mad
I
respect.
appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
mad
It's
respect.
he's he means the world to me, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
He seems like a hell of a guy, man. And tell him that I know he don't know me, but tell him that I said I appreciate his service.
Oh, definitely, dude.
Yeah. Cool. So let's talk about wrestling a little bit, man. So when did you get into wrestling? What kind of led to that? I'm curious.
I was a fan of wrestling when I was a kid, and I always wanted to be a wrestler. I went to local wrestling shows here in town,
Yeah.
and when I found out there was a wrestling school that I could join, and I was under 18, I was like 16. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna learn because me and my friends used to backyard wrestle and do all this funny stuff in the backyard. But I always wanted to wrestle and be a wrestler.
Hmm.
I signed up. It was back in 2001. I was 16, 17. I was in 10th grade. Um, and from there, it just kind of became, probably half my life almost.
Nice.
Exactly over half my life. So from the age of 16 to 36, I've been wrestling on the indie level. I've
Hmm.
gotten to go to different states: California, Pennsylvania, Kansas, um, Georgia, South Carolina, Louisiana, Mississippi. So I've wrestled probably about like 11 states or so.
Nice.
Um, Gotten to wrestle some names like, Jim Duggan, Jerry
Hmm.
Lawler, Viscera, Rikishi, Marty Jannetty. So I've had, not like I've been on TV or anything, not WWE or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I've still had a pretty fun experience being part
Mm-hmm.
of this. Lots of memories, things like that. Another cool thing, it's almost like my experience with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of blessings from it, things like that. It's
Nice.
really fun. It's been tough, even at this level. There's been a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sacrifices, like with girlfriends and relationships that
Yeah.
I've lost because of it.
Yeah.
But it's been a big part of my life for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it, man, is as far as relationships go, if you're in a relationship with somebody that doesn't support the things that you're truly passionate about,
Yeah,
that's not a relationship worth having, you know?
yeah, definitely.
So I don't know a lot about the indie wrestling side. What's the big difference between indie wrestling and like the big leagues like WWE, or is there
Well,
a difference?
for one, it's production,
Hmm.
production value.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Being on national TV, money.
Hmm.
Money is definitely a big change because WWE, AEW, Impact, they get contracts, they get guaranteed pay. Um, they're on pay per view, they're on TV. The Indies is like being in a small rock band. Like if you
Yeah.
were being a rock band, no money, no money, starving artist,
Hmm.
not pretty, wrestling in clubs, bars, bingo
Hmm.
halls, gyms, high schools, wrestling in parking lots.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. It's a passion project. You have
Yeah.
to really love the business to do it. Um, but it's still fun. I feel that it has its merits and stuff like that. There's bigger indies, of
Hmm.
course, that you'll read about like on the internet and stuff like that. And then there's smaller indies, which are, you know, spot shows that don't do shows that often, that
Yeah.
don't record, don't do anything like that. But it has its merits. It's a lot of fun to entertain people,
Yeah.
even at a smaller level.
Nice. What's the name of your wrestler persona? What are some of like personality characteristics of
So
your?
my wrestling character is Joey Supershot Spectre.
Hmm.
He's an asshole, cocky, chicken shit heel, chauvinistic, full of himself, has no filter, um, very dastardly, old school wrestling style.
Hmm.
Um, will cheat and stab anybody in the back just to uh, get an edge on something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like stereotypical '80s old school type of heel.
Nice. That
Yeah.
sounds like a pretty fun character to play.
Oh, it's awesome. I've been a bad guy probably about 90% of my experience. I've
Hmm.
had moments where I'm a face and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I prefer being a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like it would be a hell of a lot more fun than being a good guy.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah. So with indie wrestling, is there ever like an avenue or a path to go from that to something like the WWE, or is that not how it
Um,
works?
it's all it's a lot of work actually because there's
Yeah.
only so many spots in a national
Yeah.
level. It's all about who you know first and foremost, but it's also your appearance, your look. Like for me, one thing that holds me back is my height, and I
Hmm.
don't exactly have the body.
Hmm.
So realistically, it'd be very difficult unless I really made a lot of noise, like on the indies. If I got
Yeah.
viral somehow, or made like a lot of noise, like on the news or something like
Yeah.
that. But character development is a huge part of it. Wrestling for the right companies.
Hmm.
If you wrestle for an indie that's bigger and you get a little bit of spotlight on you. Appearance is the biggest thing, though. I would say it's a lot easier for females because females, if you look pretty and
Hmm.
you're somewhat athletic, you can be
Yeah.
thrown into the ring.
Yeah.
Um, right now, WWE's been picking athletes more than anything. So
Hmm.
strongmen, Olympians, collegiate athletes. A lot of their trainees are people who had college or professional level sports experience,
Hmm.
and then because they already have the look, they already have the stamina and stuff like that. Um, but there's ways to do it. But realistically, it's really hard. Not everybody
Yeah.
gets in.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Have you ever had the opportunity to meet any big time wrestlers since you've been in the indie world?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've wrestled several former stars.
Oh, nice.
You know, like Jerry Lawler,
Hmm.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, um, Rikishi, Viscera,
Nice.
You know, I've wrestled several people, several indies, and several big indie guys. Um, Several guys are in NXT or AEW right now. I've wrestled, stuff like that. But this was back when they were in Texas, being wrestlers. So definitely have had some experience.
I'm curious about this. Are there any similarities between putting on a production for a wrestling match versus making a movie? Like, is there a lot of planning involved?
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
I would say wrestling is at times it can be, but for the most part, depending on who you wrestle, it's not really.
Yeah.
A lot of it is going off of the crowd reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could just feel it out and be like, okay, the crowd's really hot. They're gonna, you know, I do something they react to. If they boo to it, then I know which way to take the match. Don't necessarily have to call move for move. Movies, yeah, movies have so much detail.
Oh yeah.
Every little thing for a scene.
Yeah.
From where you place that to where you face, everything like that. Wrestling gets complicated when it's for TV because then you have to realize where the end of a match has to be. You have to have your cue. You have to know when the commercials are. You have to know certain aspects of how to do it. Sometimes you have to memorize a script too, like in WWE. But if you're on a local level like indies, no, it's not. It's not really. It's all about just filling the crowd out.
So it sounds like there's a lot of improv that goes on during the match. Now, do you know, has it already been predetermined who's going to win the match?
Well, yeah. For the most part, you know, the most that you might be told is, okay, this is what I want for the finish. You guys got 10 minutes, and then you can call it in the back. You'd be like, okay, we'll start off. We'll do this spot. We'll go here. This will be the cue to start heading to the end of the match. Or you could just go out there and just feel it and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just depends on how experienced you are, how experienced your opponent is. It's easy for me to do that, to just go out there if I've wrestled this. Like some of my opponents, I've been wrestling for 15 years or more.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I already know what we can do and what we can't.
Yeah.
I already know spots that we've done in the past. But if I'm wrestling somebody for the first time and they're inexperienced, then we're going to talk about it a little bit more in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. So while you were in the ring with your opponent, is there any kind of like secret hidden way of communication that you two have during the match?
It depends how experienced you are. You could do everything from actually calling it. There's a lingo that you use to call spots. Or you could just say like one word and they know what you're talking about, like certain stuff. I've seen everything from people just straight out talking, like not even hiding it. I've seen stuff with holds. I've seen, you know, different ways of doing it. You could even do certain like grabs, like if I have their wrist and I kind of move my hand a little bit to where they could feel it, they'll know I'm saying, hey, reverse me or something like that. There's different ways. It's a whole different way of figuring out how to communicate and stuff.
Yeah. It seems to me like wrestling is pretty physical too. I mean, is it like...
Oh, it definitely is. It's a lot, you know.
Very exhausting?
Even though people say it's not real, I feel like a train wreck after a match.
I'll bet. Yeah.
So I'll have to like soak and take pain medicines because it can be pretty hard on the body.
Yeah, I would imagine. So have you ever been injured really bad since you've been doing it?
Thankfully, no. I've been dropped on my head. I've been somebody's landed on my head with elbows and knees, but I've never been like beyond like to where I had to go to the hospital. I've never broken a bone. Yeah. Thankfully, so I've been pretty good for the most part. But I've had friends collapse their lungs in matches. I've had friends break their arms, break their legs. Yeah. Break their fingers.
Wow.
I've had people get knocked out. I've seen a little bit of everything.
Yeah. It seems like, it seems like there's always potential for injury when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Something else I've always kind of been curious about wrestling. Do the things that you learn as a wrestler, even if it's indie, do you feel like some of these things could help you in an actual, real physical confrontation with somebody?
Yeah, most moves that you learn in pro wrestling, if you put them on for real, you can actually hurt somebody. Yeah. They show us both ways so that you can be careful and know how much pressure to put on a hold or things like that. You could drop somebody on their head. almost everything that you do in wrestling, you can actually hurt somebody.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's cool because, and I say it's cool because in a way, it's almost like you're also learning a little bit of self-defense and getting a lot of practice at some self-defense at the same time while you're doing your career.
Yeah, it's there's aspects of it, definitely.
So cool, man. So you've, I mean, really, if you think about it, you've accomplished some pretty cool stuff in your life, man, with the YouTube channel, with being involved in the Game Chasers movie, with your wrestling career. I mean, that's all cool stuff because a lot of people, a lot of people live their life without accomplishing shit, unfortunately, which is sad, but a lot of people go through their entire life just doing the same thing every single day and not getting out there and trying new things and trying to accomplish something. So I'm curious, is there anything else like that you want to try? Any other goals that you have that you want to kind of work towards?
Well, acting's the new thing for me.
Yeah.
I got the acting bug a little bit. I want
Nice.
to get more involved in that.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that the Game Chasers movie is successful so we can get a sequel, man, because I'm sure you'll be back for the sequel.
Oh yeah, definitely will be. I'm pretty sure I will be.
Oh yeah. And I have to say, man, I don't know about you, but I feel good about this movie, man. I really
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be a hit, man.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's gonna get a good response
Yeah.
in general. Like it's definitely gonna be, I think people are gonna be surprised with it overall.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the trailer didn't do it justice.
Yeah.
I think when people actually sit down and watch it, they're gonna be pleasantly surprised with what they're shown.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that I've been telling people is I feel like Billy, just based on the little bit of the movie that I saw while on set, because obviously there's still a large portion of the movie that I have no idea about.
Uh-huh.
And even a lot of the scenes that I saw were scenes that are going to be in various places in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't have the complete picture, but based on what I have seen, I feel like Billy wrote this movie in such a way to where not only is it going to appeal to the Game Chasers fan base, but also the movie could potentially reach a wider audience, even people that don't know anything about the Game Chasers.
Yeah. They tried to make sure that it was able to be enjoyable by a casual audience that has no idea who any of us are.
Mm-hmm.
Which is partly why they don't want to call it the Game Chasers movie.
Yeah.
They're still trying to come up with a title for it.
That's got to be tough coming up with a title.
That's probably been the hardest part so far with the movie. But they definitely tried to make it with. That's also why there's not too much in way of like farts and slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
There's not too much in way of cussing.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah, which is fine because I mean, stuff like that isn't what makes a movie good. The thing that makes a movie good, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people agree with this, are the characters. The characters are the most important part of any movie, in my opinion. If you don't have good characters, you could have the best story in the world. If you don't have you could have the best acting in the world, the best everything. But if your characters are not good characters with good character development, well written, interesting, likable, then the movie's not going to be good.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
And based on what I saw on set, there's a lot of really damn interesting characters in this movie. You're going to see. I'm obviously I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot of really interesting characters you're going to see in this movie.
Yeah, definitely. Especially certain scenes. There's some days that you weren't there that we shot that had some good characters.
Yeah.
And some of them came together for the one day that you were there with the flea market. Some of them were there because we shot the ending on that day.
Yep.
Some of them were there, but you didn't get to see the context of who they were.
Yeah. Like the one guy that was a method actor that whenever he was on set, so people that didn't know who he was like, is there a homeless person walking around on set? That guy right there is no joke, dude. That guy right there, he's potentially going somewhere because he has got some serious acting talent.
Oh yeah, he was He was a lot of fun. I think that was
Mm-hmm.
his name was Lance.
And I was also happy to be able to be on set one day when the older guy that Billy found in the gym was there to film a few
Yeah.
scenes.
Oh yeah. That's forgot his real name,
Yeah,
but he's definitely gonna be a big part of
yeah.
the story.
And he was killing it, dude. Like he was
Yeah.
killing it in his scenes. Very interesting guy too, man. I don't know if you got in any conversations with him, but that man can talk. He can talk, yeah, but he's very passionate about movies, that's for sure. So, which is a good thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm excited about the movie. And again, everybody, I'm gonna leave a link to the Indiegogo for the Game Chasers movie in the
Yeah,
description
definitely,
down below.
guys. Check it out. If you have
Hmm.
any questions, it's all answered
Yep.
there. It's Google's your friend, Indiegogo
Hmm.
is your friend. Everything that I've seen everybody ask has already been answered on that.
Yep. Yep.
So,
Yep.
other than when's the movie coming out, but
Right. Right.
check it out. It's revolving. Be a big help even if you guys
Hmm.
did like $1.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely appreciate that.
Yep, yep. You can still support it. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below so that you can check that out. You
Yeah.
can get a digital copy. I think you can still get a Blu-ray on the Indiegogo too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So all that's there for you to still support the movie because Billy definitely still needs all the support that he can get. So cool, man. I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate all your support in it too, man. I know you've
Yeah,
made a couple videos on it
yeah.
and stuff like that, so that definitely means a lot.
Yeah, I mean, even if I can just get 10 people out of my audience to go on the Indiegogo and pre-order the movie, that's something. You know
Oh
what I
yeah,
mean? So, and
definitely.
hopefully I have been able to get some people in my audience to go do it.
Mhm.
Obviously, I don't know, but hopefully I have.
Hey,
That's the
even
goal.
just sharing it, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, and doing videos like this helps a lot more than you
Yeah,
know than you
yeah,
know.
for sure, for sure. So I wanted to ask you a few more questions about YouTube and video games before we close
Mhm.
out the podcast. So obviously you've been doing YouTube for a while. So I wanted to ask you, what are some of the biggest tips that you could give to not only someone like me that's still really early in YouTube, but also people that are thinking about getting into it? What are some tips that you can give to people that can help them maybe get to that 100 subscriber goal or that 1,000 subscriber goal even quicker?
Just make sure you stay within your means, man. Don't
Hmm.
overwork yourself. Don't overburn yourself. Don't expect immediate results.
Yeah.
Don't go in buying thousands of dollars of equipment.
Yep.
You could make 100 subs with a cell phone.
Yep.
You could make 100 subs with a standard camera. You could make 100 subs just vlogging. Just have fun with it. Don't quit your job. Don't quit your job for YouTube. And just take your time with it.
Hmm.
Don't expect everything. The most is take your time with it and stay within your means. Don't go broke doing this.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that for sure. What about as far as content creation or on
Yeah.
camera presence? Do you have
Well,
any tips on that?
for content, just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Honestly, do what makes you happy. If you want to try to do the trends, go for it. But there's
Hmm.
a gajillion people else doing it.
Yeah.
Retro, I think, is pretty dead. um, there's a whole new console generation coming out, so there's a
Hmm.
lot of stuff to grow from right there. You could probably get 100 subs easily
Hmm.
covering PS5 or Xbox Series X.
Yep.
But just do what makes you happy. Find a set goal before you start. Find what makes you. My trouble is I can't really, I guess, separate myself to
Hmm.
enough to grow as much as I should be. But I'm still having fun doing it. I still
Hmm.
have an audience that watches me, and that to me that's all that matters. Cater to whoever supports me, invest their time in me and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's still a learning process even with as long as I've been on.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You never stop learning. I pretty much learn something every single video I do. I
Yeah.
learn something, whether it's something that I need to improve or whatever. And that's what I would tell people too is, even though in the beginning your videos are probably not going to be that great in the beginning, don't let it discourage you. Just look at the video objectively and try to objectively decide, okay, here's what I did wrong in that video. Here's what I could improve on. and try to make small improvements with each video. Even if it's just the tiniest improvement, those tiny improvements are gonna add up over
Yeah,
time.
definitely. And it could be something as simple as new graphics, new background music, lighting,
Yep.
changing the camera angle, maybe shoot your videos in a new spot, maybe change, the length of your videos, maybe try a new method of editing. Could be anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah. So I meant to ask you this earlier, and it just completely slipped my mind. What is
Yeah.
your favorite console of all time?
I would probably say, in general, maybe the NES, and that's just because I like to collect for it and I have a lot of memories for it. But
Yeah.
I also like doing stuff with the Nintendo Switch. So I'd say probably a close combination of those. Maybe the PlayStation 4 right after that.
Yeah.
But definitely NES is where my heart's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the NES too, man. Not only because it was the very first game console I ever played as a kid. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, Ninja Gaiden was the very first game I ever played, period. I remember I
Oh,
was
wow.
like 4 years old, dude. And I think my brothers, I think they would like that. I think they put a Game Shark in and made me
Yeah.
invincible because I remember doing really well. And there's no way in hell I was doing good at that game at 4 years old.
Oh, yeah. You definitely had a Game Genie or something then.
Yeah, Game Genie. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's probably what they did. Funny story, man. Rand, I don't know why this popped into my head, but one day my brothers used to terrorize me, man. And
Oh,
one
yeah.
day,
Whose brothers don't?
yeah, for real. And one day they had some friends over to play NES. They were playing Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah.
And I was really getting on their nerves because they were babysitting me, and I was probably 4 or 5 years old at the time.
Yeah.
And I was getting on their nerves, so they decided, you know what, we're just gonna tie him up and put him in a closet. So they tied me
Oh,
up.
dude, my brother used to do the same stuff.
They tied me up. They put me in the closet. But here's the kicker: I got out of it. They didn't tie me up very good because I got out of it. I went into the living room. I dropped my pants and I started pissing on them and their friends.
Wow.
Yep. So,
That's a pretty crazy story.
oh man, so that's what they get for tying me up in the closet, man. So that was fun. But yeah, no, the NES, I'm with you there. The NES is definitely one of my favorite. I mean, if you can't tell, I don't have as many
Yeah.
as you do,
I
but
mean, how many are you at?
let's see. I've got a collector app too. I am up to, and I trimmed it down just a little bit recently. Got rid of a few games. Well, the app's not loading, but I'm up to 400. I think I'm up to 400 games, maybe high 300s. Let's see if I can, there it goes. Yeah, 405. So I'm at 405 right now. And
That's not bad.
yeah, it's not bad. Unfortunately, I think I'm fixing to have to sell some of my super high dollar games because I just made a rather large purchase that I need to quickly get some money for, so I'm probably gonna have to sell some. But you know what? You can always buy them back at some point.
Yeah.
Is the way I look at it. But yeah, no, I'm also with you on the Nintendo Switch, man. The Nintendo Switch is just such a great console, dude. I mean, just the library, the library of games alone, and I don't feel like a lot of people realize this. That console has a hell of a library, man. First party,
And
third
people
party,
give,
everything.
yeah, people give it crap because a lot of the games are ports and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's Minecraft, there's Zelda, there's Mario,
Yep.
there's Skyrim, there's Mario Kart, there's Borderlands, there's Witcher 3.
Yep.
There's so many great games on it, even though some
Yep.
of them are older ports and stuff and
Yep.
definitely overpriced. But you can play all those on the go. It's an amazing console.
Yeah, and especially, and I don't know if you're in the same boat, but for somebody like me, I'm busy a lot of the time, and I don't necessarily have the time to sit in front of a TV and play a game as much as I'd like to. But on the Switch, I've actually got my Switch Lite right here.
Yeah.
I with the Switch, because you can play these games on the go, I can actually find time here and there to game where I normally wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, and I'm not a big handheld guy too often, but I have used my Switch once in a while.
Yeah.
I do want to get a Switch Lite, even though I feel that might be a little too much because I also have a Switch, but I feel I would play a lot more if I had the Lite.
It's nice, man. I like it, especially if you get the Satisfy grip for it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it feels better in the hands than the regular Switch does,
Yeah,
personally. And it has an actual D-pad, so there's that.
there's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big.
I mainly on my Switch Lite. I mainly play like indie games or slower. I'm not trying to play like a first-person shooter on my Switch
Yeah,
Lite. You know what I mean? But like indie games are perfect in handheld mode on the Switch Lite.
yeah, smaller like um certain games they just have like a real arcade feel to them that
Yeah.
are easy to just quickly pick up and
Yeah.
start playing and kill some time. And
Yep.
I think Switch is pretty good with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What are some of your? Cause you've played a lot of indie games on the Switch. What are some of your favorites that you've played?
Well, definitely games like Stardew Valley.
Oh yeah.
Now, as far as indies go, there's of course Shovel Knight,
Mm-hmm.
um, Carrion. I just played that one. Uh, Horizon Chase Turbo. Uh, there was a few that I just played. Um, there's one that's on Game Pass, but it's coming out to Switch soon. It's called Undermine.
Oh, never
Um,
heard of that.
yeah, it's on Game Pass right now.
Yeah.
It's basically a roguelike where you have to make your way down a mine,
Oh, nice.
and it kind of plays a lot like I would say like a Zelda
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other games similar to that. There's also The Messenger. That's a good one.
That is a
Then
great
there's
game.
also other titles like Mario Rabbids. I don't think gets enough love.
It doesn't, man, and that game is so damn good.
Yeah, I really like Mario Kart as far
Mm-hmm.
as first parties go.
Oh yeah.
Um, Mario Odyssey,
Yep.
Minecraft,
Oh yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah. There's just so many good games in the library, man, just across the board. So many hidden gems on the eShop if you can find them. So yeah, I mean, I don't, and I know you're the same way. I'm one of those people that I don't have loyalty to any one console. I just like games. I like to play games, whether it's on the Xbox, PS4, Switch. I like to play games. I don't like the whole console war shit. I think that's pointless. I mean, I can understand if somebody likes one console over the other, but don't shit on somebody else because they like the console that you don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I think right now is one of the best times to be a gamer, even with the virus going on. Still a lot of good stuff to look forward to. New consoles on the horizon. Some big stuff probably coming from Nintendo. Like I'm sure Breath of the Wild 2 is probably going to be next year. I would bet money that they're working on Super Mario Odyssey 2 right now. I would bet money on that.
mm.
So I think we've got a lot of good stuff to. I think Mario Kart 9 is in the works, because since Mario Kart 8 is one of the best selling games on the Switch, it stands, logic dictates that they're probably working on 9 right now as well. So we got a lot of good stuff to look forward to, man.
Mm.
But yeah. So is there anything else that you want to talk about or bring up
No,
before we
that's
close out the
pretty much
podcast?
about it.
Well, man, thanks again for hopping on. I appreciate it. And again, everybody, link to all of Eric's social medias, YouTube channel, Twitch
Mm.
channel will all be in the description down below, as well as the link to the Game Chasers Indiegogo page. So be sure and check all that out. And Eric, appreciate you joining, man.
Yeah, thanks,
Hope that
dude.
you have
Anytime.
yeah, man. I hope you have a good rest of the day and have a good weekend. And again, tell your dad that I said thank you for his service and appreciate you
Thanks.
coming on, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anytime, dude.
Yep. All right, man. Later.
Later.